All right, welcome everybody to the Bodybuilding Legends Show. My name is John Hansen, I'm your host, and we are broadcasting live from the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa, Florida. And the Bodybuilding Legends Show is just what it says. It's all about the bodybuilding legends. On this show, we're going to be talking to the bodybuilders from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the famous bodybuilders you may have grown up reading about or you may not know about at all. And we're going to talk to them on this show. So our first guest for our first show is the real deal, Chris Cormier. We're able to sit down with Chris in person at the Florida Physique Studios out here at the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa. And we had a great conversation with Chris about his bodybuilding career, all the different contests he went in, the people he competed against like Flex Wheeler, Ronnie Coleman, Kevin Levrone. So it's a great conversation. You're not going to want to miss it. So we're going to take a short break to hear from our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by Chris, the real deal, Cormier. Stay with us.
Hey, this is Derek and Eric, DNC Boys Live.
Come check us out, Tampa's leader in sports nutrition since 1996, dncsupplements.com.
Now serving 2 locations, DNC Supplements 54 in Land Lakes.
All right, welcome back to Bodybuilding Legends. This is our first show, and we are broadcasting live out of the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa Bay, Florida. And our first guest is the real deal himself, Chris Cormier. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's an honor to have you here. So you're in Tampa now, Chris, because you're doing some personal training and you're helping Ben Pekulski get ready for the Arnold, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we talked about training together. It's been over a few years now, but just finally coming together, and he's feeling like he really want to make some changes and make he's changing his physique, and so we're getting together and making that happen.
What do you think Ben needs to do in order to, because I know he did really good at the Arnold a couple of years ago, he got second, and then he sort of was out of the top 5 last year, but what do you think he needs to do to come back and really make an impact?
He needs to change some body parts and get more connected with his muscle, mind-muscle connection. We're going to do a lot of work on his posing, a lot of core work. You got to really be able to control that area. And I want to develop his back. I feel like he's a big guy, but you need a big back with that type of body.
Right.
And if you don't have it fully developed, then I think it's going to do you a disservice when you go to compete.
So you're going to be out here in Tampa for a few months then, right? Basically training Ben and training some other people?
Yeah, I'm taking on a couple more different clients also, but my main focus has been.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So how many years have you been training, doing personal training now? Because I know this is something you've been getting into the last few years, since you stopped competing yourself.
Yeah, I've been helping a lot of bodybuilders over the years, most of my career, because I've been taken under the wing by Robbie Robinson.
Yeah.
For, since I was like 21, I was training with him.
Really? Since you were 21, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I met him really early through a mutual friend, and connected us with some training and posing, and it's kind of like we'd spend a lot of time just walking on the beach at Venice, not on the beach, but on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And he was just sort of became like a mentor, like an uncle type of figure to me, and.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we trained for a long stint of time, at least 7 years, and then we came together again when I was around 32, and we did a photo shoot together and was training for competitions, and then again when I was 40, we trained again.
Oh, really?
And we had like a long-standing relationship with training and mentorship. And I kind of did this, I kind of took on that same type of attitude with somebody, but it was Melvin Anthony.
Yeah.
Mentored him and helped train him to get his pro card. We went for the Mr. California, and on to the USA. I helped him throughout that time. So, I've been doing this for a while. I've been personal training for the last 3 or 4 years now. And now I have everyone go to my website. thegrind.guru, and they just And I handle people remotely also. I do posing on Skype
Yeah.
and so forth. So I've been doing it.
Yeah. That's great you're helping with the posing, because I think that's sort of a lost art in bodybuilding lately, you know. I remember back in, like, you know, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, posing was a real big deal. But it seems lately, even like a lot of the pros, they don't really, it seems like they don't put a lot of work into their posing anymore, you know. They don't develop these classical type of posing routines that we used to
Well,
see.
I think a lot of it has to do with they changed the way they put on a lot of shows. Like now they don't have much time.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
people feel like they don't really care as much because it's not gonna mean as much.
Right.
And they don't have much time to actually do something spectacular. So I think they just don't really put into it. But I think posing shapes your body. It not only shapes your body, it shapes the muscle, and it makes for a better physique and a better overall package.
Yeah.
So I think it's like you said, it's a lost art, and it's
Yeah.
definitely necessary and needed.
It's a good point too, because I think you're right. I think the more you pose, the better your body looks in the poses, and you're actually improving your physique. Not just sort of hardness standpoint, but you're actually making the muscles look better in the poses.
But
yeah.
it does. It makes it. It's like a form of training anyway.
Yeah.
It's isolate. You know, you isolate
Isometric,
isometrics, and you know, it makes no sense to me not to want to perfect that and want to, because actually a lot of guys are losing shows because they're not able to perform or present their physique in the best way possible.
Yeah. Even standing relaxed. Remember the guys like you and Lee Labrada? I remember when he would stand in the back in the lineup, and he would never lose his position, you know?
You know, the thing is, they used to judge that way. They used to judge to where you would lose points in some of the judges' eyes if you're not standing at attention or standing statuesque.
Right,
you know?
right.
So I like that because it's grueling, and it sets apart the people who really put in their work.
Yeah.
I like the fact of that, you know, needing to be a part of the posing or judging.
Right, right. Well, Chris, let's talk a little bit about your career, because, you know, you came from an era that many people consider to be the best in bodybuilding, which was the 90s. You had guys like yourself, Flex Wheeler, Ronnie Coleman, Dorian Yates.
Yep.
I mean, it was an incredible. If you look at the top 10 in those Olympias in the 90s, it was just unbelievable.
Oh, that was, you know, when I was younger, that was my main thing. It was like, man, I want to be one of the top 10 in the world. If I could just be one of the top 10 in the world, then I'll know I did what I was supposed to do and what I set out to do when I started bodybuilding. So just to be a part of that crew, and you know, it's almost like the Fab Five guys from Michigan, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, we're forever going to be linked as those guys. So I feel like just to be a part of it, I was really blessed. And but you know, like I put all in. I was all in.
Yeah.
From the time I started bodybuilding, I said I wanted to learn the different aspects you need to do to be a good pro, and I want to perfect those as much as I could. Or, I mean, I'd get a chance to get posing lessons. I would drive 2 hours in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And be happy.
Right. Right.
Now guys won't put in like that. I would sleep in my car.
Yeah.
A couple of nights just to have more money to eat more food.
Right.
So I wouldn't have to put into the hotel when I was, you know, able to pay for it. But I was like, I'm fine with just sleeping in my car and go to the gym, train, take a shower there.
Yeah.
Go to the beach, come back and train again or whatever.
Right. Right. Who was your initial influence? I mean, you played sports when you were younger, right? Before you got into bodybuilding.
Yeah. I was wrestling, football, and track. So I feel like the wrestling really helped me because I felt the wrestling is so hard.
Yeah.
That
great conditioning.
Yeah, and it's like that's the most grueling thing I ever did in my life was wrestle. And bodybuilding to me was a little bit easier.
Yeah. Didn't have the endurance aspect.
Yeah,
of this, right?
but it was easier because I'm like, okay, you can eat, you work hard, but I was used to working very intensely hard without eating at all.
Yeah, right.
So that's why, you know, a lot of times I don't get some of these new guys, they feel like they need to they'll be like, they want to leave a workout because they're hungry.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you?
In the middle of a workout.
Yeah, you're like, I need to go eat.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I need to, I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Like, we said train hard with no food.
Right.
You know?
Right. Who was the guy you looked up to when you first started? Was it Lee Haney? Because he was Mr. Olympia then, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a cross between Lee Haney and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Even Gaspari would be a person that you like.
Yeah.
He's very young. He's very hungry. He was like, he got so ripped.
Yeah.
All these people from 1985. So when I started competing in 1985, and that's the people that was really going strong at that time.
Yeah.
Mike Christian was the first person I seen posing that had some kind of great physique. And but I was around Bob Bursong.
Yeah.
He was in Palm Springs. That's where I grew up.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, just people like that would just, it would spark some interest in me. And I was going to school, playing the sports and stuff, and I just couldn't keep my mind off of bodybuilding and the things it's gonna take for me to get to where I want to go. I wanted to be well known in the sport was my initial goal.
Right.
I wanted to make it in the magazine a couple times. My
Yeah.
initial goal. Because back then, with no internet or anything like
Right,
that,
it was all magazines.
Yeah, it was just that, So, and I want to see who was on the other side of the world, doing what they're doing around my age group, and I wanted to see if I could be a national or world champion before I'm the age of 20.
Okay.
So I was getting deep tissue massage back in the late 80s.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I was around the right people who knew the right things.
Right.
From the jump. It's not. I got into the year 2000 where it became, more well known because people didn't really talk about it. We did it, but I know a lot of people didn't know about it.
Right. Now you did the teen nationals in '87, right? And you won your class there.
Yeah.
Gerard Dante, right? He won the overall.
Yeah, he won the overall. Yeah, he looks a lot like he did now than he did
really?
back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time, And I took second, in the overall, but I won my light heavyweight class, and that was my initial goal. I said I want to be the best in America at this age group.
Yeah.
And that once that happened, I was like, okay, I want the USA. I want the men's title.
Right.
I went from there and I only took 1 year off from the time I started at 16 till 22. I only took 1 year competitive year off.
Wow.
Like I was doing like 7 shows when I was 18, 7 shows in a row.
Yeah.
And that became something I did as a professional also. I was averaging like 10 shows in a year.
Right, that's true.
And it was just...
Teenage shows were a lot bigger back then, though. In the 80s,
yeah, we had a show every month.
Yeah,
in Southern California and Northern California. And I just went up and down California just seeing who was out there, who I can compete against, and I wanted to become a general on stage, so I wanted to compete as much as I could.
Yeah. Now, Sean Ray won the Nationals that year, right, in '87.
Yeah.
So he had to be someone you sort of looked up to, right?
Yeah,
22 years old.
I was in that same competition. I won the teenage.
Right.
I won the Teenage California. As he won the Mr.
He won Mr. California, right? That's right. Same year.
So I actually got to know Sean when I was in high school because my school would go wrestle at his El Dorado High School.
Oh, okay.
And so I saw him on the bench. I was like, damn, that's Sean Ray right there. I was 16 years old.
Right.
So it was like I became friends with him because, we looked up to Sean. We all had to get the flat top and all that stuff. And,
right.
We all
you had the flat top back then, too.
Yeah. Courtesy of Sean Ray, influenced.
Right.
But he was a real bodybuilder, man. That was the one guy that a solid physique up and down, and I wish that bodybuilding didn't really leave that look. That's the look that intrigued me.
Yeah.
To want to, go after this for a career.
Yeah, not just about size, more about physical perfection.
Yeah, it was just. I was like, man, that guy is.
Yeah, he
together.
was unbelievable. I remember back then too. I was competing around that time, and he was amazing for his age. So when did you win to California, Chris?
I won Miss California in 1990.
1990? Okay.
Yeah, I went against some prominent people, but I really pressured myself because I went to watch it the year before, and that's when Flex Wheeler won,
right,
1989. So I said, okay, he won in 1989. I'm going to come back.
So Flex won it the year before you did. Okay.
But I went to go watch, and he won. He was a little guy just sitting there really to me like just a little guy.
Yeah.
But he had big muscles on a little frame,
Right.
Which was pretty freaky. And Ray McNeil was actually in that competition.
Yeah.
He took third.
Wow.
So I was like, okay. I pressured myself to the point to where if I'm not going to win this competition, I don't really want to do this type of thing because I don't want to put all this energy and effort into something I'm not that good at. And so each show I would do, I'd put that pressure on myself.
Right.
So I said, okay, if I win this over, I said, judging from the people in the show, I should win the overall. If I don't, then what's the point?
Yeah. Now, how old were you in 1990 when you won that? Or 1980?
I was 22.
90, yeah.
22.
22, okay.
Yeah. So these guys were older than I was, but I just put it in my head that it's not going to matter about the age. I need to beat these people in order to be the person I want to be in the sport.
Right. And California was a big show back then. I don't really hear much about it now, but I remember back then.
It was humongous, and even Dennis Newman he took 6th place.
Wow.
That same year. So that just goes to show you the type of caliber of persons, people within that competition. The next year, I stepped it up and went to the USA, which 1991, which I became training partners with the likes of Flex Wheeler.
Right.
And we had Mike Matarazzo. He just moved down from the East Coast to Venice. And once that happened, we was like, man, this big guy here. We were all going for the title in the same gym. So we had the top. So 3 of the top 4 all was training in the same gym.
Wow.
Out of Golden Venice. And it was intense enough to where we were saying stuff to each other in between sets. Or
I heard about that.
During sets.
Yeah.
I go say stuff to Mike to mess with him, mess with his head.
Now, you didn't know him that well, right?
No, I didn't know him that well.
Yeah.
But when he came, I said, hey, man, I know you from out of town, but, if you need anything, let me know. I was friendly and stuff at first, and then it turned kind of weird because I thought some people were saying that he was saying that I didn't belong on stage with them. And so I was like, I took that kind of personal at the time. Because where I come from, that you say anything about anything,
Right.
Like, I wanted that because I wanted to use something. I don't care if it was made up or what. I wanted something that make me a little edgy.
Yeah.
And to make me a little upset. And I want to train harder and I want to put that energy, into making myself better.
Right. So you and Flex are training together, and he's training by himself on the other side of the gym, and you guys are going back and forth.
Yeah. And we all wanted to win it, We were all looking at each other while we were training, while we were doing our sets. We were looking at each other.
Right.
It was awesome, though. Because,
those are the days.
Yeah,
huh?
those are the days that we laughed about it. Years later, man.
Right.
Became really good friends, and rest in peace. We became good friends, and. And we really enjoyed those times because we was like, man, that was fun.
Yeah. What'd you feel about him winning? Because that was pretty surprising. He came out of nowhere.
Yeah, the thing is, he had those huge arms and those huge calves. Like, I wasn't ready for that. I was 23 years old, and at least I took 4th. I took 4th that year, and I was like, okay. And now I had the same pressure on myself that said, if I didn't make the top 5 in America, then it's over. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So each year I had some type of pressure, about me to continue on and pursue this dream I had of being one of the best bodybuilders.
Right. Yeah, I think that's important that you do put pressure on yourself. Like I got to do this, I got to do that, because that's what makes you push harder.
Yeah.
Now in '92, did you compete? I know you won the USA in '93.
No, I took '92 off, and I put all my focus on Flex's competition.
Right, because that's your one.
Yeah, so myself, Flex, and Rico McClinton, we all formed this like little pack. We were all hungry. We all wanted to win. We always wanted to be the best. We were the strongest in the gym. Like the whole gym would stop and watch us train.
Yeah.
And it was, we were throwing up some astronomical weights.
Right.
Then I was doing 1,000-pound hack squats for like 10 reps.
I remember that, yeah.
And with ease. It wasn't like something that was. Now I wouldn't recommend it for anybody. But we was so Flex. We just all got behind Flex and pushed him as hard as we could in the posing room, in the training aspects. We did cardio together. We ate at the firehouse together. We went back for another session together.
Right.
We worked at the nightclub at the nighttime at the Roxbury nightclub together. and we were together 24/7 for years.
Wow. Hey, I want to ask you something. You just mentioned nightclub. I remember reading something where you said you and Mike Tyson sort of got into it.
Yeah. That was the same year.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah, in '92, he was a world champion, and he came to Roxbury. You know, everyone was going to that club. It was you would see Mick Jagger there on any given night.
Wow.
You have Rick James that come through there. You have Janet Jackson. What's her name? Madonna.
Yeah.
She was
yeah,
frequently there all the time, and a ton of other actors and singers and models. And he was. I got introduced to Mike, and he was. You know, he got a little drunk after a while, but he had like a whole line of women, like going out the door waiting to give. Yeah, we had little black books. They had a tablet, a yellow tablet, writing women's names on it.
Little black book wasn't enough.
And he had a ton of people with him, 20 people or person's entourage.
Yeah.
They all in the gym. They all grabbing the women. They all doing all sorts of things like the Wild Wild West, you know.
Right.
And he sort of like, you know, he got to the point, you know, I haven't heard in some of his books or interviews that when he sees someone that's bigger than him, he'd want to go up and show them up like, I'm, you know, I can knock your big ass out, like that type of thing.
Right.
And it came to me like that's exactly what he was like.
Right.
You know, I was bigger than him as far as mass wise, and I was a little bit taller, but we was right there, and he sort of just like came up and slapped me in the back of the head, like
Really?
Yeah, and his hands are like hard like stone.
Right.
I ain't got to tell you what he does with his hands, and and it felt like someone hit me with a brick like out of nowhere, like in the back of the head, like. So I turned around with rage because, you know, you're bouncing. You trained to go already, you know. And I turned around and I said, mother effer. And it was Mike Tyson, you know. And that feeling was like someone had a gun to you like that. Right. And so it's like, boom, like all this adrenaline started going. And then he started coming at me like, well, what you want to do? Like, you know, like that. He was like, I said, like, who the fuck? You know, it was like this guy told me to do it, and I was just ready to go, man. But and he had this wrestling background, so it's not like I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna box him, but I was definitely gonna take him down. Right. But I was just thinking, you know, Rico was right there, Flex was like over here. I'm seeing in my peripheral vision, and he started coming at me like this. Really? Yeah, and I was like, oh, shit. I've seen that before. That woke you up, right? Yeah. Like, I've seen that one before. And so, you know, so he was coming towards me, and I'm backing up at the same time. And then a lot of people, you know, swarmed in and got between us and stuff like that. But that was my... and you know, and then but we went looking for him the next weekend because I was still upset. Yeah, really? Yeah, I wanted an apology. You know, I didn't want to go to court. I didn't want to arrest anybody, but I wanted him to give me an apology. And so we kind of got that out of him. We met up. We saw him. We went looking for him around town. But we met up with him at a restaurant where everyone used to go after the clubs. And Larry Parker's restaurant back in Beverly Hills. Okay. So we kind of like.
He apologized?
Yeah, but we were laughing at him because they showed a video when he was. They showed a video when he got knocked down by Buster Douglas. Yeah. And we were like laughing, like slapping our knees, like we were like the only people in the whole restaurant laughing. It was four of us. So that was it.
So tell me a little bit about your USA win in '93. Who did you remember beating in that one? Or
yeah, it was. I was the underdog coming in. No one thought I was going to win. Not even my training partners. Even Flex even told me, he said he didn't think I even won the show, even when I won the show. Yeah. You know, we was kind of like straight up with each other with that. You know. One time Flex came in and he was getting ready for his show and he was still heavy out of shape because Flex liked to eat burgers a lot.
Yeah.
And Rico told him that he was fat, and he didn't talk to Rico for like 2 weeks. He was like so bad. So we was kind of hard on each other, but I was also training with Gary Stridham at the time.
Okay.
And so I'd do some stuff with Gary at some time, and I would go. We was going pretty hard in the gym, and I was training hard, posing. That's the time where it was like I just had a wrestler's mentality. I didn't like if it took me 2 or 3 workouts in one day, I was doing it. I didn't care.
Right.
I wanted to win so bad that I would make sure I was in shape. I came down to 224 pounds. And
who was your competition there? You remember?
The what?
Who was your competition in '93?
Oh yeah, it was the whole top 7. It was the best competitive show in.
Oh, that's right. Lonnie Teeper used to always talk about that.
Yeah, because it had
Mike Francois was in it, right?
Mike Francois took 2nd.
Dennis Newman.
Dennis Newman took 6th.
Yeah.
They had even the guy from Jersey, no, from Boston. I forgot his name. A black kid. But he was very good. He actually ended up winning, so the whole top 7 actually went pro.
Wow! Holy shit!
So it just eventually went pro.
Yeah.
And what's his name? That's notoriously known now.
Titus.
He was in it.
Yeah.
Quadzilla was in it.
Oh, that's right. The Mayo. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just a whole lineup of.
Right.
And the thing was, Mike Francois, they said that he wasn't going to do it because 6 weeks out, he injured his lower back. And
okay.
They were saying he wasn't going to do it, but in my head, I'm like, no, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Don't even get to like, he's not
don't get relaxed.
So,
Yeah.
So I was just like, no, he's doing it, and he totally showed up, and he was in great shape. Mm-hmm. Aesthetically, I just beat him head to toe.
Right.
And, he didn't have none of the detail I had. I had everything developed from. My hamstrings was genetically developed because since I was 9 years old, so I could flex my hamstring.
Oh, really?
And I had this growth of muscle there.
Yeah.
And it's been there throughout. You've seen some of my hamstring shots.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was like that when I was a young kid. Before I was even working out.
Yeah.
So I had that going for me. I had front of my quads feathered. Mm-hmm. All 3 heads were feathered. I had striations everywhere.
Small waist.
Yeah, small waist. I had the broad shoulders. Had the Christmas tree.
Right.
Really detailed everywhere, and no one else was like that.
Right.
And so when he came in, he was a lot bigger than me, but he like even to this day, like he never beat me. Mm-hmm. I beat him like 4 different times, but he had he had a run of wins as a professional, but like I say, I wasn't in those shows. I should have done it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you won like the first. Like
we was,
3 or 4
but we was
shows.
picking. It was like, winning that show. It meant so much to me. I lived like 5 minutes from that Santa Monica Civic.
Okay.
So even when the show started, I was still like at home, like chilling out. And, I guess I'll go over there now. And,
Right.
But I remember I worked so hard for that show. It was. I couldn't see anyone beat me in that show.
Was that one of your best wins, you think, out of your whole career?
It was one of them.
Yeah.
It was one of them. Later on, I became more, that was, getting over the hump. Over the hump.
Right.
Getting the validation of, I'm one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
Or in America, which was one of the best in the world, actually.
Absolutely, yeah.
At that time, you're getting guest posing every weekend, So every weekend, so your bag is by the door, you got to pick it up because you're only home for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And, it was that sort of thing. And it was like, okay, who am I going to sign with? Okay, who am I going to sign with? Weeder? I'm going to sign with, they had WBF around that time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that was a great win. But then it came a time when me and Flex and everybody went head to head. Mm-hmm. That was exciting.
Yeah.
Because everyone considered Flex to be the sultan of symmetry, and to go, okay, I'm gonna beat Flex Wheeler. No one believed in that of me.
Right.
I'm the only one who believed it.
Really?
Yeah. So he always thought he was better than me, and I always thought I was better than him.
Now, when you went your first Olympia in '94, Dorian was the winner then. How did you feel about his physique? Because that was like his third win, I think.
Well,
right?
yeah, well, we all went to the '93 Olympia with Flex because he went from 90. He went from
the Arnold that year.
Yeah, and so we went. Okay, we were all behind him, so we went to Atlanta for the Olympia that year.
Right.
And it was shocking at first because we're sitting in the audience and we're like, Dorian just comes out and we're like, holy shit. I was like, okay, I quit.
Yeah.
I quit. I'm not gonna.
That was the year he freaked everybody out, right?
Yeah.
He gained like 15 pounds.
That was my first thought was I quit.
Yeah.
You know, like forget it. You know, so and then Flex was hanging right there with him.
Right.
Like, okay, his just by the shape alone, it wasn't like size or anything.
Yeah.
But to see him do that was, it was pretty amazing for us because we were all like trading, buying each other food for lunch, just about a year ago.
Yeah.
And then now we're battling with the best people in the world.
Right, right.
So that's how, it was just amazing for us as a crew to eventually be one of the top 3 with a training partner. Not many people were able to have a training partner. And we started out as amateurs and went on to the pros. And then we're competing for the title, for the Mr. Olympia title. Not many people can do that.
Right, that's cool. That you guys were training partners as amateurs and then went all the way up to the top pros.
Yeah.
So your first Arnold was in '94.
Yeah.
And you got like 4th place, right behind
Negroni
and.
Yeah, but the week before that was my first pro show, was the Ironman.
Okay.
Which I took second. Once I took second to Vince Taylor.
Okay.
Actually, on my right was Berto Fox was actually on my right. Yeah,
wow.
So that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And
he was probably an idol of yours growing up, huh?
Yeah, of course. He's seeing doing the tricep push down with the cable between his pecs.
Right.
So yeah, all that stuff was awesome. But like back to what you said about Dorian, you could feel Dorian's presence on stage, especially at 1994. When he was already had people freaked out, like it feel like if you had like a whale coming behind you, you'll probably feel the presence,
Right.
So it was sort of like that feeling on stage, and I remember he was coming towards me, and I see him inside of my eye here, he was coming. I'm like, okay, here comes Dorian. I gotta hit my best shot. So I did like a last spread. He ended up doing the last spread also. I never seen the photo, but I know he did it.
Yeah. Now, how was he to interact with on stage as a competitor? Was he pretty much to himself? To
himself. He didn't really talk too much. He talked to me different periods of time, and we're very close now.
Yeah.
But when we were competitors, I remember one time we were competing, and we had the same style of shoes, so I ended up putting on his shoes. Because he had him on the side of the stage,
right? And
he ended up finding my shoes. So I was like, I'm walking around with Dorian's shoes all day. So he's like looking for me. He said, "Dorian, looking for you." I said, "What?" He said, "You got my shoes on, right?" So that was kind of cool. Just from playing, I was playing an avid gamer, with the PlayStation and stuff.
Yeah. I remember
his son was actually playing a lot. And so, Lewis, his son Lewis, and we're good friends too now. But he's like saying, "Yeah, you and Lewis how to play or whatever." And at the time, I was like so into it that I'd be doing an interview for Flex magazine, like totally playing, like right before the Arnold Classic. They like wait for me to finish, get a touchdown. Okay,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So what was it like competing in the 90s then? I mean, I'm sure you didn't know when you turned pro that there was going to be this great influx of pros, coming up. You had yourself and, Flex, of course, and you had Dorian, and then Nasser came along, and Sean Ray was in the mix, Vince Taylor. Yeah.
Kevin LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron. Yeah.
Actually, I followed behind Kevin a lot because I took a lot of seconds to Kevin. And then I was like, okay, so we would go on tour, and I just learned as much as I could from him. He'd actually be on stage, not taunting me, but like talking to me a lot. and like I would just follow him what he's doing, and that became something that even Dexter did with me.
Okay.
Like if I do a little something, Dexter do a little something. It was just like, but we'd pump up together. We had stayed in the same rooms together. We roomed on tour.
Yeah.
And just, you know, his work ethic and the way he went about things, I was just like, man, if only I could get close to that, then I could beat a lot of people also.
Wow.
And then it came one day when I was able to beat Kevin. Stuff like that was like meant a lot to me because I looked up to these guys so much. Matt Mendenhall back then. We all did the Nationals in 1991 also.
Right.
I forgot to talk about that. But just to have all these great people that you, like you said, we saw in the magazines coming up, and it's the same feeling for me. I'm one of the biggest fans of bodybuilding, you know, there is, you know.
Yeah, the 91 Nationals, like I said, we didn't mention that, but that was after Matarazzo won the USA, and then a couple months later, that was one of the best Nationals.
Yeah,
that was Kevin won, right?
Yeah, Flex was in it. I was in it. Ronnie Cormier was in it. DeMayo, Mendenhall. Who else? There was a lot of people in that show, man. But it was, I tell you, that
Ronnie Coleman?
Oh yeah, Ronnie. Yeah, Ronnie took fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Chickarillo, he beat you.
Chickarillo, yeah. Yeah, that was like, you know, I was a young guy, you know, 23. I was, like I said, I was younger than those other people.
Yeah.
So just, you know, being a 23-year-old, and I say, okay, I'm one of the best in America, and I can get my pro card. And so what I needed to do was just, I took a year off at 92, like I said, trained with Flex, and just worked on getting some more size. And then I came back and got my title.
You think that heavy training you guys were doing together at the time, that contributed a lot to your size?
I did think so, but if I would have did it all again now, I probably would have went for more feel of the muscle. I was plenty strong doing up to 500 pounds on the incline. Right. 200-pound dumbbell presses and all that stuff. But I felt like it was using a lot of arms, and I was using just. And if you think about it, you can't really focus on the muscle if you got so much weight. You got so much weight, you're just trying to live. Yeah. You're just trying to live through it. So you can't really focus on the muscle.
I think we all did that when we were younger. We're strong, and we want to lift the heaviest weights possible.
Yeah, but and I see it still. It's like, even when I had people like Robbie saying in my ear, you know, make it harder for yourself, make each rep count. Yeah. Make, you know, don't just come up, you know, like days ago with the weight, like get some intensity into it. Right. I wanted to go heavier, so I was like, you know, I did that for a little bit, but then I ditched that and went back to going heavy. Yeah. But now when I tell different people that, youngsters, I say, okay, this is the way to do it. This is the most effective way to do it. They still resort back to that because that's in their mind that they feel they need to do. Yeah. Think about your tendons, and you're gonna strain yourself. You get way more out of it. You're gonna, you know, contract the muscle and utilize all the different components of the rep. Right. Being a master of the repetition, that's just gonna get you further than the weight. Right.
Now, like going back to your career at 95, you did the Night of the Champions, and Nasser won that, and it seemed like that's sort of where the trend started to change, where we went from the symmetrical, perfectly developed physiques like Flex and Sean Ray and yourself to more the mass monsters like Nasser and
it became a tug of war of who was better, you know. Right. And you know, Sean Ray was a leader of that, you know, also about talking about mass monsters versus what he was doing. Right. You know? And
he was pretty vocal about that.
Yeah, and then, you know, I just feel like you know, bodybuilding to me was like, you got to have a small, tight waist. Like I'm never gonna feel like it's okay just to come with a physique and not have that symmetrical look to it. It's just not very pleasing to me, and I can't think that people that don't really bodybuild think that looks good. Yeah, right. Even the people that bodybuild don't think it looks good. Imagine what people who don't. The
average person, right?
Yeah. So if your stomach is protruding past your chest, and you think you're bodybuilding, then that's something I just don't believe in. Right. I think it needs to all look a certain way. Yeah. And I would train myself not to eat past a certain point, not to bloat my stomach. No matter what calorie intake people think I need to have. Yeah. I wasn't. I don't think when people are doing this, I don't think they're taking into account the body type you're talking about. Because they're not going to say, okay, this guy is short-waisted, but he needs all these calories. Guess what? You're going to ruin the physique because you're going off of what muscle mass you have or whatever, not looking at the aesthetic look of the physique.
Right, right.
So I had a longer torso and a little bit shorter legs, so I was able, my body stretched out here, and I was able to put, you know, mass on, but it didn't just accumulate right here.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened, like with Ronnie. He has a shorter waist.
Yeah.
He only had like a waist like this and all this food in it.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was.
Because he was the opposite. He had longer legs, shorter torso.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, your first big pro win, I think, was the Night of the Champions, right? 97?
Yeah, 97.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a happy night because the previous week before that, I totally did some amateur moves and went there and
The Toronto pro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took third because I got there. By the time I got there a little late, I was had a girlfriend pick me up over in Canada, but they kept me in customs like 5 hours.
Oh, no shit.
So I was pissed off already. I was like, I want to go home. I don't even want to go to Canada. And then they finally let me through. And then I found out I didn't even shave yet. Here it is, Friday night.
Yeah.
I got into town late and I'm still not shaving yet. So okay. So then I made a mistake of using a straight razor, and that just like it injured my skin to where I was holding water.
Right, right.
So I went in there Friday night shaving with a razor, and then I went in there and I looked all blurry. Took third behind Matarazzo and Milos.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm pissed off now. So I went to Night of Champions next week, and I was really dialed in and made sure I shaved on Wednesday with the shears, and I was ready to go. And I got my first title. And at that time, I was like, I'm not gonna just win and just hold my hand. I'm gonna act like I won a touchdown. So I was like running around the stage.
Oh, really?
High stepping.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so that was my first win, and went on to the Olympia that year. And each year I was qualifying for the Olympia, and each year I was qualifying for the Arnold. And so the sponsors that I had, Joe and everybody's like, if you're qualified, you need to go and compete. If you're invited, you need to go and compete. So every 6 months I was going and competing. But I wasn't able to take another year where I just focused on size. I think if I would have did a show once a year, like a lot of the guys in Olympia, I think I would have probably surpassed where I was and really gave even a stronger go at the title.
Yeah. Now, how'd you feel in '98 when Ronnie won? Because that was sort of a year that was up for grabs. Dorian wasn't competing, so you had a bunch of guys that took second, like Leroni and Sean Ray and Flex.
I thought that show, Flex was going to win it. But,
yeah, a lot of people did.
But he made a mistake of being fearful of success.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that, but he was afraid of that success.
Yeah.
It was going to be demanding. It's going to be like a lot of attention, and I don't think he was cut out for that like that. And so he would make him he like gorge hamburgers down his body. Even 2 weeks out, he's having like how are you gonna like the show that you're supposed to win? You just left Wheeler. You just signed another contract with Nature's Best, and you got all this money coming in. All you got to do is win the show, and it's gonna keep coming in. And he's sitting there pounding burgers at 2 weeks out.
Wow!
Like pounding them.
Wow!
And we had a meeting, like a sit down type meeting before the Olympia, and he kind of confessed to us, and it was a lot of crying and a lot of.
Wow! Really?
Yeah, it was a big thing. So we got to the show, and we were like 3 days out from the show, and we go to take a look at him. Myself and Rico and the Chad Nichols, and he wouldn't even turn the lights on.
Oh, really?
He kept it dim.
Wow.
And he was so far out of shape, he had him drink like 7 gallons of water that day to try to flush out water.
How far out from the show was this?
3 days.
3 days. Wow. Holy shit.
So even how he looked was remarkable at where he came.
Yeah.
Trust me. Chad did a great job bringing him down from that, but it was just like,
holy shit.
And me, I felt like I should have been third in that competition, but
you got 6, right?
But my age, my name, all that stuff wasn't strong enough to.
Yeah.
But I looked. If you look at that tape, I was super hard. Kevin, Nasser,
Sean.
Yeah, Sean. Like I should have been in front of those guys.
Yeah.
It should have been myself, Flex, and Ronnie, and it was that the next year.
Right.
But I'm telling you, they missed a year. I had a great routine, and it was. That's when a lot of people. I grew up bouncing in nightclubs from the time I was 18 up until 23.
Mm-hmm.
So that nightlife was always something I was always around 4 or 5 nights a week.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't really sleep well at night.
Yeah.
And it still plagues me throughout my life. Like, it's hard for me to sleep at night. And I was sleeping like 5 hours on an average when I was competing.
Wow.
But then I was like a shy bodybuilder. So I was a shy bodybuilder trying to fake like I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I struggled with that a lot. And
what do you mean you were a shy bodybuilder?
I'm a shy person.
Yeah.
By nature. So bodybuilding, getting up there on stage was something very hard for me to do, to take my clothes off. And like even growing up in school, I didn't want to say any speeches. I didn't want to do that stuff. I was too shy.
Yeah.
I'd wait till the last day and the second to the last person, then I'll say my speech. Every time.
Yeah.
Throughout my whole career.
Right.
And that was another thing when I was going to turn pro. I was like, my God, people are going to want me to do seminars, and I don't want to do that. So it was, like I say, something I struggled with.
Yeah.
And then, I was like, okay, I have to come out of the shell if I want to be a better bodybuilder. So I started throwing myself on stage and dancing like at these nightclubs. Mm-hmm. And getting ready for the 99 Olympia, I was flying to Vegas every weekend up until 5 weeks out. And what I would do is I'd go to the nightclub owner, and they would like they'd give me a free room because they know I'd come and perform.
Uh-huh.
And each week I'd go there and dance and take off all my clothes and dance, and I'd train my ass off 5 days a week, and then I'd go to Vegas on the weekend.
Wow, that's wild. And so you basically did it just so you get over that fear of being on stage.
But people was like, oh man, he's a
partier.
I was looking awesome though. You should have seen. I was 5 weeks out and I was already ready.
Right.
And so once I stopped going, I stayed in town, and then that's when I came out with my big routine when I was like 1999, like this is my coming out party.
Right.
I'm gonna do this. It was the best competition of my life because you know how there's no cramping, there's nothing going wrong with your body, everything's tight.
Right.
As tight as I want it to be. My routine was flawless. My prejudging was flawless. If you look at the posing routine when you do your compulsory poses by yourself, everything was dead on the money. At that 1999 prejudging, nothing went wrong.
Right.
Like no bobbling, no mistakes.
Right.
Everything was just right on the money. My stance, everything was just dead.
Yeah.
And
what was your motivation for that, Chris? Was it because you only got 6th the year before and you should have been higher?
Well, I had a thing with trying to say to myself, okay, I'm gonna be top 6. I'm gonna be top 6 this year. I wanted to make the top 6. My rookie year, I was top 6. My second year, I was top 6. I said, okay, so I'm one of the top in the world.
Yeah.
To get over the hump, I need to make top 3. But I never came out and like, I'm gonna be Mr. Olympia. This is my year for Mr. Olympia. I was never saying that.
Right.
Because I felt like I wasn't ready to be that. And I didn't want to be like a person that's just out there jaw-jacking about something that's not going to happen.
Right.
So the year that I said I'm going to be top 3, that's the year that I was top 3. I said, no. I said, I'm not settling for 6th, no 5th. I'm in the top 3 this year. And that was on the tape. I said that on the tape, before the show.
Yeah.
I'm making the top 3. Gotta make the top 3. That's my goal this time. Gotta make the top 3.
Gotta pass up a lot of champions, but I gotta make the top 3. 6 is thing of the past. 3 6s is a bad omen. Can't stop right there. Gotta go up.
That's why I made it, but I actually felt I should have been at least second.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little bit
You
harder.
better than Flex?
I thought I was.
Yeah.
He thought he should have won it. I thought it should have been second.
And you guys are sort of training together, right? Because I
Yeah,
remember seeing
yeah.
that battle for the Olympia
Yeah.
with you and him in the gym. That's one of my favorite battle for the Olympia.
Oh
sets.
yeah, it was awesome, man. And that's where you just take off your shirt and it's like
Yeah.
everything's just all.
Yeah, you guys were
know?
posing by the door over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, it was awesome.
So you just felt like that was your year. You knew that. Didn't you guys have a bet with Sean Ray too, that you were going to place higher than him?
Well, he always told me since I was a little kid that I was never going to be able to beat him. Like never. Like
Yeah.
you're never going to beat me, so don't even try it. That type of thing. And we actually trained together for some of the Olympias. And I got upset with him because one day my car broke down and he didn't want to come pick me up. He's like, you can't make it to the gym. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go. He was like, I was like, man. He was like, I'm not gonna help you beat me. So that was the last time we trained together. Sean, the trip.
And then you win the Ironman that year too, right? In '99.
Yeah,
I didn't realize you won that show so many times. You won it like 4 years in a row.
4 years
right?
in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing was, Flex was in one of those shows.
Right, in 2000.
Ronnie, but it was Dexter, Ronnie, Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
I beat the best guys in our era in that show. That show, like no one could touch me because the way the lights were, it just accentuated my physique.
Yeah.
And I should have just kept doing it because it was no way someone could beat me on that stage. No way.
Right.
I don't care who it was. No,
Yeah, they had the best lighting at that show, didn't they?
no one was gonna beat me on that stage.
Wow.
Like if you see some of those photos from that stage, I was not even like fully drawn. I was just like I lost a little bit of water, like 2 or 3 pounds, and just go right into the show.
Right.
And for some reason, my physique on that stage. Even one of these shows, I had to say, "Hey Dexter, I'm not gonna do the show this year." He said, "Stop lying. You're gonna do it." I said, "No, I'm not gonna do it. Come on, win it." And I sat in the audience and let him win it. And then that's the year. That was in 05.
Yeah.
I was like, "No, come on, win it. I'm gonna sit it out." So he flew out there and won it. And then the judge, in the judge's eyes, they saw him on that stage, and they like that carried over in their mind to the Arnold, which is the next week.
Right.
And I just always had trouble, getting the nod at the Arnold. I mean, I did the show 10 times. I've been second six years in a row.
I know, that's unbelievable. I couldn't
And
believe it until I was making this list up.
No,
I was like, wow.
dude, it's like it'll make your head spin.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe how they just never gave me the nod there. And
Yeah.
I'm still upset about it to this day.
I thought that one year when Jay beat you, when he was way underweight, I thought you should have definitely won that one.
I still haven't found a judge. I haven't found a fan. I haven't found nobody that thought that,
Right.
except on the paper where it says I didn't win it.
Right.
I haven't found any of his fans, my fans.
Right.
No judges.
Even Dorian was doing the play-by-play,
Yeah,
right, for ESPN.
yeah.
Even he said you should have won.
Yeah, no one thought I should have not won that show.
Yeah.
And that kind of that was hurtful to me because I was just like I would have a full-on tantrum in the backstage.
Oh, really?
Oh hell yeah! I'm
Yeah.
on the ground screaming, just like pissed off because
Yeah.
it's like the whole year I'm like, okay, this is my
Yeah.
year. And to be second that many years in a row, I don't think anyone will be second that many times.
No.
What are the odds?
I know. Well, that one year Ronnie won it, right? And when he was already
And
Mr.
that's
Olympia.
what pissed me off too.
Yeah, that he
because
won.
it's like they're not gonna take a Mr. Olympia's title
Right.
and be like, okay, this is you're the Mr. Olympia, but Chris beat you today.
Yeah, at the Arnold.
Yeah, right. That's not gonna happen.
Right.
And we had the same dietitians, so
Chad, yeah.
I think there was a little something going on with he probably. I know Ronnie was like his main guy, his breadwinner, his everything. But Ronnie, if you remember, Ronnie came in. I sat out the Olympia in 2000. I had passed out in Mexico.
Oh, really?
That year, and I ended up I said, okay, I think something's wrong with me. Maybe I better not push it. But I should have did it. I really should have did that show.
Yeah.
And I would have been in the top 2 or top 3 even if not won it.
Yeah.
I think I could have won it because Ronnie came in at 280 pounds that year.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
280-pound Ronnie is not going to beat me.
Right.
No way in hell. And that's the year I should have did it, because after that, when I was getting ready for when I was getting ready for the Arnold, I'm sitting in the audience like teared up. I'm like, I'm pissed that I didn't do it. You know?
Yeah.
It's like there's no way he could beat me. He had like a pinstripe coming from his glute to his knee, but no cuts, no nothing. I was like, okay, you bring that to the Arnold Classic then and see what happens. So 3 months later, you're not going to compete and win the Olympia at 280. People thinking, what is it going to be? 290, 300? Mm-hmm. What did he do? He came down.
Right.
Why did he come down?
Why?
Because of me.
Oh, really?
Because I told Chad, I said, let him come in at 280, see what happens. I'm going to go lighter.
Right.
So I was listening to Dorian, and Dorian said, Chris, you need to come down lighter. You'll look bigger.
Right.
It said, mentally, you'll think you won't be, but the way your physique is,
Your symmetry.
your symmetry, you're going to look bigger. So I came down to 247 that time. And I haven't been in the 40s in a long time on purpose because I didn't want to compete that light. Mm-hmm. And when I came down that light, he came down to 240.
Right.
So don't tell me you're in shape at 280 or what you consider good to win a title, but yet you need to come down to 240 now. 3 months later, it just doesn't make any sense. And it had to have been something. Because he didn't want to lose to me, that's for sure.
Yeah, not to be a Mr. Olympia.
No, and we had, he got me from the back because he had, the strided glutes that was astronomically cut. Mm-hmm. I didn't have that type of look. Mm-hmm. But I hung with him in like maybe three out of the pose that I won the front lat spread because they had a lead-in photo of us like elbow to elbow in the front lat spread, and I won that shot. I won the side tricep shot. And there was another shot I won. But from the back, he beat me in those 2 shots.
Yeah.
I beat him in the ab shot, ab and thigh.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I got like 3 poses out of the 4, and he edged me out.
And the year that Flex beat you at the Arnold, after you beat him at the Ironman 1 week before.
And that was a little weird to me because if you look at the photos from that match, I could still show you some photos from that show, and there's no way he was better.
Right.
He was better than he was the week before, but I was also better.
Right.
But he was so far off that when he got better, they considered that.
Made it look like,
Mm-hmm. But I think it was still a little bit more to it than that. I'm going to leave it at that.
And then another thing, Chris, I didn't realize, you won that Australia Grand Prix like 3 times, right?
Yeah, I won the first 3 of them.
Yeah.
Took second in the last 2. I got a little, coming from the Arnold and the other shows, when you're doing multiple shows, it gets you mentally, physically.
Yeah.
I wasn't as if I would have came there focused, there's no way I would have lost those shows. But I was losing focus over traveling, coming home, training there, getting back on the plane, going back,
Yeah.
I'm eating sandwiches on the way over to.
Right.
And then Lee Priest was over there for 2 weeks, staying over there training, doing appearances, and this one guy was on the judging panel. I lost like about 2 points that show. But to me, it's like his physique. Like I didn't like his chest, his depth to his body, and I felt that shouldn't be the person like myself.
Right.
If I'm in good enough shape, I could be 75% and still should be able to win that show.
Right.
And he beat me by 2 points. So
really?
I was pretty upset.
Yeah.
I took out like 20 people, 20 of the fans that was waiting for me after the show. I said, let's go to dinner and pay for everybody. I spent all my money I was so pissed off. All my money from the selling the photos, I made like a couple grand.
Yeah.
And I just spent it all on dinner.
So,
$1,500 bill.
wow, really? So,
Yeah.
what are your some of your toughest competitors, you think, in your pro career?
Well, Ronnie for one.
Yeah.
Kevin LeBron, Flex. It was a mental and physical battle because it was they try to get with your psyche also. It's not just going up on stage. It's like who's saying what going into the show, who's doing what.
Would people say stuff backstage, like they did in Pumping Iron, or was it more?
It was on stage actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. While we're posing, we're saying stuff, Yeah, especially Kevin. He was super vocal on stage, and it was like we were the West Coast guys, me and Flex and Vince and Kevin. Vince and Kevin was the East Coast guys, and so we like taunt each other while we're competing, But it made it a lot of fun,
Yeah.
It made it a lot of fun.
Yeah, Leroni was a good competitor, wasn't he?
Yeah. So those guys was tough, and some of the guys like I would just mentally just demolish people on purpose. People like what's his name, Dennis Newman.
Yeah.
I remember he was going to compete with me, and I was fearful enough of him, of respecting his body enough to put in the time to mess with him. So I waited for him to come and weigh in, and I taunted him coming into the show. Coming into just to weigh in, I was taunting him, saying stuff to him.
Like what?
Just like talking about his condition, talking about whatever you could say that's gonna mess his head up.
Yeah.
Or have him so, because if you think about this, if you get some of these guys so angry when they go up against you, if you're that mad, there's no way you can perform at your best because your mind is so.
Yeah.
There's no way you could. Your posing not going to be as good.
You can't focus. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't focus because some of the muscles are not going to be flexed because you're so much anger in your head and it's going down into your body. There's no way you could perform.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do to people.
Remember when Kamali first competed against you at that Ironman?
Oh yeah. See,
he was talking a lot of shit.
Yeah, because he was talking coming from the amateur ranks. He was sitting there like, "What are you saying, boy?" Like, he was, and then that was an East Coast West Coast thing
right,
too.
big time.
And then he came. Actually, one of his cousins was working in the bank where I'd go, and she was saying stuff to me. I'm like, "Who is your cousin?" Yeah, my cousin's gonna my cousin's gonna beat you and all this stuff. I'm like, "What?" And I was like, "Who's your cousin?" He said, "King Kamali." Like, "King Kamali." I was like, "Oh." So yeah, it was a big thing.
That was a crazy show. I was at that show in California.
And then
the prejudging was nuts.
He still talks about that to this day. He said, "The first thing Chris ever said to me, he hit me like this. And he said, scoot the fuck over."
I remember that when he got next to you on stage.
Yeah. Because he was like all in my area. I'm like returning champion. I'm returning champion. You need to have some respect.
Right. Exactly. Now, did anybody ever mess with your head at the pros like that? Like psych you out a little bit?
I was already up on that type of game. I was. I mean, not really. But it went a lot of stuff when I was always I was antagonistic. I wasn't. I had this thing with Dennis James because back then it was like you say, it was no internet. So you say something to this reporter, and they put it in a magazine, and I'm like, "Okay, you said this," and then he's like, "No, I didn't say anything." I said, "Did he say something?" "Yes, he said that." "Okay, where's your pen and paper?" And I kind of put this analogy out there, like my body's a Ferrari, and your body's like a Ford Pinto,
right?
And that didn't go over too well because, it was like I said, okay, maybe I'm not as ripped as you are because to me, that wasn't necessary for my physique. I wasn't necessary to push the water envelope as far as like cutting hard. It wasn't like I wasn't working hard. It just meant I didn't think that was necessary for bodybuilding. It's not about that because we had people who were no longer on tour with us anymore because they were trying to get so much like that.
Yeah.
That wasn't my thing.
Right.
You know, so I sort of went to the I kind of went for the juggler, and it's like, even if I got a scratch on my Ferrari, it's still a Ferrari. You know, and just so I sort of said something like, you can shine up a Ford Pinto, you can put a nice paint job on it, it'd be as custom as you can get it, but it's still a Ford Pinto. So that was kind of, so just going back and forth with that a couple of years, saying, he was saying my conditioning wasn't good enough to place where I placed.
Right.
And I was saying, well, I just got a good body, I guess.
Yeah. What was it like training with Dorian? I know you went over to England a little bit and trained with him.
Oh my God, that was
that famous video of you guys
That
training?
was shocking, man. It was shocking because it wasn't even supposed to be a video. It was just a workout, and it actually got filmed.
Right.
So none of that stuff was like, okay, I'm gonna try to throw up.
Right.
And I'm gonna come over here. We're gonna do this and that. So we just all this like a fly on the wall. Because the guy would like be like up on a rack, but I didn't notice he was there.
Okay.
Most of the time, he'd be like on a squat rack, like shooting down, and I'm like, shit.
Push! You get back there.
Yeah, they just over 13.
That's it. Some power on the Gracie. Come on, big legs. Big fucking. Hey, come on. Come on, fast. Come on. Come on. Here. No, here. Push. But I can't fucking breathe. So. Push. Fucking. Fucking bitch! What the fuck are we on here? I'll find oh, shit. Wait! Huh?
Chris, you want some water? All right. There you go, man. Come on, man. Making the place look untidy.
There's something wrong with homeboy though, for real. For real. Something definitely wrong.
He just pushed me to levels I've never been, and to me, like that's what I was missing, was that intensity. And not to knock any other people that I trained with before, but when he came to Venice, he didn't train with Charles. He didn't train with some of these other people. He trained with the Mincers. The Mincers was an advocate of high intensity through what's the guy's name? Arthur Jones.
Arthur Jones, yeah.
So from Arthur Jones, he had it. He knew it. He taught them, and then there's even pictures of Arnold doing like the pullover machine with like the Mincers. You see those pictures?
Yeah.
And it's something, that's where bodybuilding was at, and that's where a lot of people missed it, because people don't want to work that hard. They don't want to train that hard. They don't want to go to that level where it might be so exerted that you're gonna just vomit during your set or whatever. They just don't want to do it. And nowadays it's even worse. But it kind of like went and kind of stayed with some people, and then it just dropped off. Because it wasn't a secret how Dorian was training. He said, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing 2 sets or whatever, the failure or whatever. But people didn't understand it totally. I didn't understand it. Okay, I'm gonna try this. That's no good. Go back to my heavyweight, like that. And then, when I went and trained with him, and then I started training people. I don't know if you noticed, but in the last 3 years, people started listening. Oh, there's way more to the rep than just heavyweight. you know, it's been more videos and stuff, but now it's like, I like when people tell me, oh yeah, I do the negative, and then I squeeze. Guess what? Your body don't look like you're doing that, so I don't care what you're telling me.
Right.
I can look at your muscle and tell you're not doing it like that.
Right.
It makes the muscle look a totally different way. And people thought that Dorian was doing something so crazy that made him look different from everybody, more dense. Remember, he had that more dense.
Yeah, like granite.
His assertions had more pop to him.
Right.
And I think I was lacking that in my physique throughout my career. I was lacking that.
How do you employ some of those methods that you learned from Dorian when you train your clients now?
Oh yeah, that's all I do.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the most effective way to train.
Right.
And I don't think if you're gonna train someone, like if it's a certain person that don't really need to go to that extent, I understand that. But some people who are really trying to do something, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
In order to make something happen in your body. That's why you see a lot of professionals with flat backs here,
Right.
flat chest. They're not thinking through or mastering what you could do inside the gym. Even though they're professionals, they still don't know how to train. They still don't know, just because you got a pro card, don't mean you know how to train.
Right.
And I think between training with Dorian and I trained with Charles Glass a number of years.
Yeah.
Learning different angles, but then when I threw in the intensity, that changed the game for me because I actually didn't know. I was 43 at the time, and I didn't even know that intensity was that intense.
Wow.
And most people probably live bodybuilding all their life, and they still don't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they end up dying, and they devoted their whole life to bodybuilding, but never really knew what it was about.
They never really went to that level, yeah. What about the guys today, Chris? Does anybody really impress you out there, today's pros?
This guy, Dallas Carver.
Yeah, Dallas McCarver, yeah.
McCarver, he can be really good.
Yeah.
If he had the right trainer behind it. I don't think you need to go to something that's super chemical. I think you need to go just put your mind into the weights and to the gym and finding out the best way to build your body. Because you can build your body a certain way by the resistance that you apply in your muscles. And a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people don't know how to build a back. They don't know how to build a chest. And it's the way you train it makes all this stuff come about. It's not something you're going to do yourself chemically.
Right.
You're not going to eat your way to a title.
Right.
You're not going to get it's not at the dinner table. It's in the gym.
Right. What about, I remember seeing Ronnie Coleman on Muscle Mag cover a couple of years ago, and he said if I was competing against Phil, I'd beat him. Do you think guys like Phil Heath and Kai Green, how would they do back in the 90s?
They would lose.
You guys,
they would lose.
Yeah.
They would lose. Because even like this year, you know, to me it was disappointing.
Yeah.
To me it was disappointing because I think it was a higher standard for what was good or what was bad. It's like it wasn't a weird thing to see was a fully feathered quad.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Back then it was everyone had it, so it was no big deal.
Or even just a shredded abs.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes you don't even see that anymore.
And now that's what I mean. Like the people doing these different these shots, these famous muscle shots, things was popping and hard everywhere all over the body.
Right.
Now it's not like that. They have a different meaning of what is good.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Lower expectations of greatness.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Well, thank you very much for our interview.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking some
time.
time.
My sponsor, Zig Plus out of Germany, and also if you want to reach me on my website, is thegrind.guru. Thegrind.guru.
Thegrind.guru. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that. And good luck with training Ben Pekulski for the Arnold. And,
thank you, man.
Good luck with your training system out here.
Yeah, we're gonna see if we can make things grow on Ben that he never had before.
Yeah.
I told him just give me the keys to the car and let me drive. Whatever you do before, that's what you did before. That's why I'm here.
Right.
Do something different.
All right, Chris. Well, it's a pleasure talking with you. I think you're one of the best bodybuilders, like we said, of the 90s, and great hearing some of your stories. So thanks for joining us on the Bodybuilding Legend Show. For John Hansen and Chris Cormier, this is the Bodybuilding Legend Show. We'll see you next week. All right, that's it for the Bodybuilding Legend Show, episode number 1. I want to thank our guest, Chris Cormier, for joining us here on our first show. And on our next edition of the Bodybuilding Legend Show, we're going to be joined by the legendary Mike Katz. Mike was featured in the book and the movie Pumping Iron. He's very famous in the bodybuilding world. He trained with Arnold and Franco and the old Gold's Gym crew down in Venice, California. So we're gonna have a great conversation with Mike Katz about his career and about his feelings of the bodybuilding world back in the good old days, the golden era. So don't miss our next show, the Bodybuilding Legend Show. Will be joined by Mike Katz. We'll see you then. Have a good week, everybody.